Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to Sister Wives Monday, where I discuss Sunday's episode of Sister Wives, which this season is so exciting. So much is happening. I'm so excited about... Do you sense the sarcasm in that statement? I am so bored. We need to talk about this first of all. I am so bored with this season of Sister Wives. This season of Sister Wives, now, for those of you that do not know, I binge watched all 18 seasons, like the middle of the summer until the show started. I binge watched all 18 seasons, okay? And I kind of figured out their formula after a while. A couple people had let me know their formula. They're like, they do an episode and then the next 3 episodes are them talking about that episode. But there's kind of a new formula, okay, to Sister Wives. And the new formula is 5 minutes of how they're gonna, it's like a framework, okay? So it's like, what do they call it? Bookshelving or whatever. So it's like the first 5 minutes is them kind of like, or maybe even 2 minutes, is them introducing what the big hot topic of the entire show is gonna be. So for example, this week's episode was centered around this conversation that Meri and Janelle were gonna have about the selling of Coyote Pass and them getting divorced and stuff like that, okay? And then there's like a hot topic episode piece to that, and this was Gwendlyn's engagement party that was gonna tie it up at the end, okay? And then throw in there in between a lot of discussion about past episodes from 15 years ago, and also a lot of Christine and David making out, okay? That's what every episode is of the season, and I am so completely bored of it. First of all, I am really not that invested. I mean, I wasn't really that invested in Christine as one of the wives. I'm definitely not that invested in Christine and her new relationship with David, okay? I think that David seems like a very, very nice guy. I think that Christine seems like a very, very nice gal. I hope that they make it. I hope that they have true love for the rest of their lives and many, many, many matching tattoos. I'm just not that invested or interested in their relationship to dedicate 20 minutes of an episode to having to watch it. That is the period of the episode where I get up and I make my cup of coffee and I kind of clean the kitchen for a little bit. I'm so bored of the whole storyline. And not only do I think that I'm bored of the storyline, I think that Christine's kids are bored of the storyline. I think that even Janelle's kids, after 5 minutes meeting David, were bored of the storyline. I think the producers are bored of the storyline. I think it's just filler at this point. I think the only person that's not bored of the storyline is Christine. And I'm so tired of it. And I don't want to see any more of it in the show. But unfortunately, I have a feeling this entire season is going to lead up until their wedding, okay? I think that the whole season, because the season's supposed to be 24 episodes, and we're only on episode 9 now, which is interesting to me, because when you go back to the original seasons were a lot shorter, but I've heard that this season's supposed to be 24 episodes. I don't think that there's any reason for this season to be 24 episodes. I think they're carrying it out, because I have a feeling that they don't think it's going to get signed again or renewed for another season. I have a feeling they're thinking that this might be the last season of Sister Wives. And the reality is, I'm not really sure. I mean, there's always that end of like the last 3 seasons, I think that there's been speculation like, is there going to be another season or whatever. I'm not really sure how the producers plan on keeping this going at all whatsoever. I see bits and pieces where they're trying to build a framework for that, where they'll say things like, we know now that it's so highly produced that a lot of the things that they're saying on the show, they're being told to say and things like that. And so there's a lot of like building of the relationships, building of the family. So this season, I think, is going to, be a lot about the disruption of the family. And then I think if they try to come back for a 20th season, I think the 20th season, and maybe they'll say this was going to be our final season, I don't know, will be the rebuilding of the family, the rebuilding of the relationships, the Cody really trying to make an effort with the kids. Maybe this season, the purpose of the season is to really show the dysfunction in the family. So the 20th season can be about the rebuilding of the family after Garrison's passing and things like that. I don't know, but we know that in real time that's not really happening. We know in real time that Christine and Janelle are very, very close and that they don't have anything to do with Meri. We know that a lot of the kids have come out and made allegations against Meri being abusive when they were growing up and things like that. We know that Robyn and Cody just like sold their house and got a new house. I mean, we know all these things. We know like in real time. So, and they would already already have to have started production. I haven't really heard anything about that. So anyway, I'm really, really bored of this season. In all honesty, you know, like, it's the one show a week that I used to like. When I was binging it, like every night I'd be like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch Sister Wives. Now it's like the one show I'm like, oh, I have to watch Sister Wives tonight, you know? But I can't stop watching it. I can't, because I have to know what's going to happen. And there were some good pieces on this episode. So let's get into it. Now, the way that I take my notes is that I just start where like the show starts. So for example, I wrote down here, it starts at Mary's house. So it starts at Mary's house, and Janelle is coming over for them to have this conversation, okay? And so they have this conversation, and when she comes in, they talk about how it's been like a year. They haven't talked. They haven't even had spoken a word or whatever in a year. And then Janelle says something about, yeah, I think it was at the family's wedding. And they're talking about Logan and Michelle's wedding, and that was a year ago, okay? So that's the last time that Meri has spoken to Janelle. I do think it's interesting, like, you know, in looking at the past episodes of Janelle and Meri being in counseling and things like that, you know, it's obvious that they didn't really get along, okay? And I know that, and I know that Meri you can even see it in this episode. She highly still sides with Kody and Robyn, which is so weird. And I know that her and Meri didn't get along. I know that her and Christine didn't get along that well. I mean, they've shown that through the years and stuff like that. It is kind of strange to me, though, that in the parting of the ways, I don't know, somebody maybe give me a different perspective on this. It is strange to me, though, that in the parting of the ways, it's not just about them leaving Kody. It's about their entire family disintegrating, that there would never be, I mean, these women must really dislike each other for, I just can't ever imagine Janelle or Meri. I mean, these are people that we've watched for 18 years that are supposed to be godly Christian people that love each other, and they don't even pick up the phone to be like, hey, Janelle, I heard that you left Kody. Are you doing okay? Like, you know, I'm going to miss the family. Or for any of them to pick up the phone during, you know, the lockdown when Meri was by herself in that house and be like, hey, Meri, do you need anything? Like, I know you're all alone out there. Like, is there anything? I mean, we're talking about, this whole show was built around this Christian ideology. And this is one of the things I always say about these kinds of shows like The Plaths and things like that and Welcome to Plathville, is that the first commandment of these families should be, thou shalt not do reality TV, because I think it shows what bogus Christians they really are, right? And I think it really shines a negative light on a lot of people out there that are really devout Mormons or devout Christians or whatever. And I know that they're not, I know that they're that special AUR religion. Well, none of them really are anymore. The only reason that Meri is because she wanted to get the release from the church, but none of them are really part of the church anymore, you know? So it's interesting to me, though, because like Kody still mentions like God and stuff like that, but like they don't act like what I would hope somebody that is a godly person would act like. They don't reach out to each other. I think it's so bizarre that y'all live together. I mean, when the show started, they were living together in one house, and you don't reach out to somebody. I mean, no matter how much you dislike this person, and just be like, are you good? Are you okay? Like, you know, like, I left Kody too. I mean, there's no discussion about it. I can't believe that production has not put Christine, Meri, and Janelle on a couch. I mean, they're still willing to do the show, so they should have to be willing to do whatever production forces them to do. I can't believe that Christine and Janelle, I mean, if this was the Housewives or any other reality show, they would have to sit on a couch and discuss the disintegration of their family. They would have to do that. The reunions are so weird now. They're like taped, like these people are on one episode, these people are on another episode. They don't even do the reunions. I mean, where have we ever seen that before? Vanderpump Rules are screaming and yelling at each other. You know, the Housewives are screaming and yelling at each other on opposite couches. But the Sister Wives, they get to have it like all taped at separate times and things like that. I think it's kind of bogus, if you want to know the truth. Put the four wives on a couch together like you did back in the day, and have Kody on another couch and talk about the leaving. They've never sat in a room and talked about it as one big family, and yet we've been invested in their one big family for 18 years, now, or 18 seasons, now 19 seasons. I would like to hear them all sit down and address it together as a family, where they can't get their story straight, you know, whatever. I'd like to hear them sit there and talk about it. I would like an episode or two of that, of them being interviewed, okay? Not by that original interviewer, but I would like to see them being interviewed in a room all together, being forced to discuss the questions that we all have. That's what I would like to see. So anyway, but it goes in, and Meri and Janelle are there. Janelle's there to talk about Coyote Pass, and they talk about they haven't seen each other for a year, and Meri's like, this is not a social visit. Then it flashes to Robyn's house, and Kody is plowing and shoveling the snow. He's getting the snow off his truck. He's yelling at the kids about not hitting the truck with the shovel. And I'm like, you know what? It's really nice. I think it's really nice that Kody took 5 minutes out of his day to actually spend some time with his kids. Oh, wait. So he does actually spend a lot of time with Robyn's kids. It's everybody else's kids that he's never, his kids. It's all of his other kids that he doesn't ever spend any time with. Even at Gwendlyn's, I thought it was interesting, even at Gwendlyn's engagement party, you don't really see him interacting with the kids at all. You see him and Robyn like shaking the babies like this because they're so nervous to be talking to Christine and David. But you don't really ever see him like going over and talking to any, the kids are all sitting there. You can see them. You know, Janelle and Christine's kids are there. And so they don't show one shot in that entire scene, which probably is about 2 hours. You don't see one scene of him like standing there talking to anybody except for, I think there's a scene where they're talking to Aspen. That's like, and it's like 2 seconds and that's it. Well, it's when they're like holding the babies, the twins. So anyway, then it goes back to Meri's house and she tells Janelle she's moving. I don't know why it took me 18 seasons, and I know that it's probably her defense mechanism, and there's a part of me that really likes Meri, but it's like every time she says something that's really awkward, she laughs after it, and it makes me really uncomfortable to watch it. And this conversation, okay, what happens between her and Christine at the end of the season, at the engagement party, because they hug and they say they love each other, was kind of what I was hoping for with Janelle, and Meri in this scene right here was really what I was kind of hoping for. So she talks about how she's moving and she's getting rid of stuff. And so she tells Janelle she's married, and then Janelle kind of says something about that, like, you know, she and Cody aren't together anymore, and Meri asks her some questions about it. And Janelle said Meri is loyal to a fault, and it's about damn time that she left Cody. And she refers to her as like, she's loyal like a dog. And then she goes, not a dog, she's not a dog. She says all that kind of stuff. But then Janelle says that she's free, and then Meri wants kind of more of a definition of that. And she just says she thinks she needs something different. And then she says she's at peace. And Meri says, and then she kind of asks Meri how she's doing. And Meri's like, I'm all right. Like, you can tell Meri is really grieving the loss of, I mean, Meri's had one child, okay? She doesn't have all these children to keep her company and things like that. She has one child and this bed and breakfast. And her entire family of what she knew that was like, you know, 20 people has now gone to just her. I can't even imagine how lonely that is. I just can't even imagine. And I think she's really, and she even says at the end of it, she goes, you know, for everybody else it's been a while, but for me it's just been a couple of months. Well, her and Janelle kind of left around the same time. Janelle says it's weird, but it's not necessarily bad. Meri says that she wishes that things, and this was kind of a sweet moment. Meri says that she wishes that things in the family could have gone a different way. And Janelle kind of pauses and she says that she did too. And that was kind of like a sweet moment, I thought. Then Janelle brings up the note due on Coyote Pass. Okay, it was interesting to me in this whole conversation how very little Meri understood about the note due on the house or the property, there's no house, there's no house yet. How little she knew about the business aspect of it, how little she knew about the finances of the family, and how much she trusted Kody and Robyn to this day. It was really crazy to me. It really, like, you think you know some of these people watching the shows, but like that scene alone, when they're talking and Meri's like, well, I always just thought you took care of all the finances. And Janelle was like, no, if I was the book, and she says, like, off to the side, she's like, if I was the bookkeeper, things in the family finances would be a lot better than they are. And so she's like, well, I think that you need to protect yourself, Meri. And Meri's like, oh no, like, I don't think that Cody and Robyn would screw you. Seriously? I mean, out of all of them, the way that Meri has been treated by Cody and Robyn, it's so unbelievable to me that she still trusts these people. I mean, like, it's unbelievable to me. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. And so she tells Meri that she needs to protect her interest in Coyote Pass. And she talks about that. I mean, Janelle breaks it down. She's like, so we each own a fourth, but Meri's fourth is with Cody and I. So really, she should get a fourth. But really, Janelle's being generous in that moment, because you can tell when you look at the map that they've shown 1,000 times, if Meri really owns 1/3 of a fourth is what she owns. And listen, I ain't got my glasses on, I can't do math, that's too deep for me, okay? But like, what is that, 1/12 of the property that she so it's not like, I guess maybe why would she care? It's not like she really has that much of an investment in it anyway, I guess. I don't know, if I'm looking at it correctly, which I probably am not. And then Janelle says something about, don't you think no, Meri says, don't you think that we have each other's backs? And Janelle says, no, I don't. Meaning Cody and Robyn and everybody having each other's backs. They're all, okay, everybody's divorced, everybody's living separately. I think it's so kind of naive of Meri to think that they still have each other's backs. I mean, they're none of them even living anywhere near each other. Then Janelle says that Meri is technically entitled to get 1/4 of the property, okay? Which I think that Janelle's being generous here, because if you look at the map, that's not how much Meri really is deserving of. And that Cody says that he doesn't have the money to pay it off. And Meri seems clueless in this whole scene. And she's like, I'm not going to take sides. And I'm like, girl, you need to get with it. This is not about a side-taking thing. You are divorced from this man. Legally and spiritually, you're divorced from this man, okay? He is nothing to you. Period. I mean, I know that you might have some feelings or emotions attached to him or the family, but in all legality, he is nothing to you. And that is his property now. He owns it. So you're going to have, like Janelle said in the last episode, you're going to have to lawyer up. And she said she's not concerned about it. She expects Cody to be a gentleman and be fair. And I'm like, seriously? When have we seen in the last 10 seasons Cody ever be fair to his own children, let alone his ex-wives? I mean, it's just baffling to me that Meri still believes this, right? And Janelle says that she feels like she needs to protect herself, and she's not sure, and she doesn't even trust Meri, because she's like, I don't even know if Meri will go back to Cody and tell him that I said all this kind of stuff. Which was Janelle going out on a limb for Meri. I mean, I don't know that Meri even got it in that moment, but that whole conversation was Janelle. She knew that Meri wasn't going to put up any money, so it was Janelle coming to Meri to do her a favor, to say, protect your assets, and protect your ass, because they're going to screw you, and they might screw me too. I almost kind of think that she was kind of like, if Meri had said, no, I don't trust them, she would have said, I think we should lawyer up together. I almost kind of thought that was maybe where it was going to go. Then it goes into Christine and David buying a house because she's done living apart after four weeks. It's been 4 or 5 weeks. 4 or 5 weeks they're looking for a house to move into because she's done living apart. Her kids, all of her kids, except for one, are telling her that she's moving too fast, and she's totally not listening to them. I hope to God that they are married for the rest of their lives and this relationship works, but it is going really, really fast. And I'm somebody that believes in insta-love and told my husband I loved him like at a week and a half or something like that, you know? But I don't know, like, to get out of this whole marriage and family and relationship and then turn around and date somebody for 4 weeks, I don't know, it's kind of scary to me a little bit, you know? She says they don't know each other's habits because it's fresh and new. It's fresh and new, and yet I mean, we're not now just talking about marriage, which is also a legal partnership, okay? We're not just talking about wedding venues. We're now talking about buying a home together. So you're now entering into a business deal with a man that you've known for 4 or 5 weeks. Like, and he's doing the same thing. I mean, he don't know anything about her. I mean, it's kind of scary to me a little bit, honestly, for her and for him. I mean, I hope it works. I really do. I like Christine, and I like David. Seems like a really nice guy. I hope it works for both of them. And then she talks about combining their 2 lives into one. It's like Christine does this thing that you think like she's like the first one that's like ever... Like, she talks, like, when she's talking in her confessional, she talks to the camera like she's the first one that's ever, like, done this before. Like, she's like, yeah, we're, like, combining our 2 lives into one by, like, moving into each. Like, she's the first person that's ever moved into something. Baby, I was living with somebody when I was 18 years old, okay? I think, and you know what? And that was at 18. And I think I met him at a bar. We dated for about a week. And I was like, why don't you move in, okay? But that was at 18. But she always acts like she's, like, the first person that's ever. It's like, we went and saw a movie. You probably haven't heard the movie before, but it's about this girl, and she's from Kansas, and she is in this tornado, and this tornado takes her to this town, and there's like this yellow brick road, and her name is Dorothy. She doesn't go by Dottie, she goes by Dorothy, and she's on this yellow brick road, and she meets these strangers. I know, it sounds really strange. Have you ever heard of it before? But it is, but it's, and the movie... It kind of feels like it's an analogy for my life. And then they show McKelty, and McKelty's talking just like her, but with brown hair. And she's like, yeah, like, I saw that movie too. I kind of felt like it was like me and Tony's relationship, really soulmates. It's like so weird to me. I get like, they talk about all these cringe moments. Like, Cody's talking about cringe moments of showing up at Gwendlyn. I'm like, cringe moments are the confessionals of Christine. I feel like she talks down to the audience. No shit, really? You getting married is combining your lives? Isn't that the definition of marriage? I mean, like, she's like, yeah, like, we're combining each other's lives. It's fresh and new. It's fresh and new because you've been dating for 4 to 5 weeks. Zip it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of listening to it. Oh my God, it just bores the hell out of me. And then she goes, and then this is the other thing that Robyn does. She does all this, like, word vomit stuff that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Somehow it makes sense to her in her own brain, but it doesn't make sense to me. And she says this thing about, it would be really fast if it wasn't really fast. Because it's not really fast for us, because we synced up so fast. But if you don't sync up so fast, then it would be fast for you. But it's not fast for us because we synced up really fast. And that's our flow. And I'm like, what the fuck did she just say? Like, I am so confused about what she just said. Can somebody please explain to me what this woman just said? Then she goes in, and then after that she goes, yeah, I really hope that Meri and Janelle are moving however they want to, and they're finding their future. I'm like, what the fuck did you do? What is going on here? I'm so confused, okay? You need to throw out the Kool-Aid from the polygamy church or whatever that you're still drinking. Then it goes in, and then they're talking about buying these homes, and she says Cody was never involved in her home. Cody goes, I was always involved I picked out the paint colors. It's all this weird shit. And then is Gwendlyn and Bia's engagement party, and Janelle and Christine's family are staying in the same house, but Janelle can't be there because Maddie's about to deliver babies, more babies, more babies, and more babies, and more babies. Poof, there it is. And then Janelle says Christine has always been a romantic and is always all about the fairy tale. No shit, really. She didn't get it from Cody for 30 years, so now she's like getting it from David. I don't know. They tongue kiss way too much. I love a good tongue kiss too, okay? But they're like looking at houses, and she's like, I don't know. I don't really like this island. And we only have 4 ovens. We need 6 ovens because we have a big family. First of all, the things that she was asking for, I think in her head she still thinks she's like a polygamist. She was like, we need 2 stoves and 4 ovens. She didn't say that. She said 2 ovens. I'm exaggerating. But she's like, yeah, this isn't big enough. We need 4 ovens and 5 refrigerators. And then she's like, tongue kiss me, David. And I'm like, this is too much. That poor realtor, I felt so bad for her. Every time they said they didn't like a house, they about fucked. And that's the other thing, I do think, okay? Has anybody wondered this? I know this is like, listen, okay? This is commentary of the Sister Wives. I can say this. You know how the whole conversation with, like, Tony and McKelty before they got married, and Cody was like, I know y'all want to do it, that's why you want to rush in this marriage. Do you think that that's the reason why Christine is rushing into this marriage so fast? Because they're not being sexually intimate, and so she wants to bone this man so quick, and she wants to, like, I don't know, ride his mustache, his little goatee. She wants to ride that goatee so bad that she can't wait to get married to him. Is that what this is going on? Because she does talk about staying over at his house, but she says as soon as we get up in the morning, we leave. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of like Kody Robyn leaving your house back in the day, right? So I'm like, it's so weird to me, like, how they discuss their relationship. I mean, obviously, they're not going to talk about, I mean, they hardly even want to talk about anything but kissing, so they're not going to talk about fucking. But I would love for her to address it. This is where it should be reality television. She should say, I was a polygamist before. We didn't believe her. I was a Christian before, whatever. But yes, I have fucked the shit out of this man. That's what I want to hear on these shows. Not this dance around bullshit about, I don't know, about matching tattoos. Who'd care about all that stuff, girl? Not me, okay? I got questions. So, then they go over there, and Cody says he had an experience. Oh, they're talking about Gwendlyn's coming out, which in all the seasons, they kind of just, like, skipped right over Gwendlyn coming out. So they go on and they talk about that, which have you all seen these TikToks? I think it's Gwendlyn that's doing them, where she's like talking about like some of these kids that are talking about the clips. McKelty just did one the other day. I mean, they are being more honest than any of the parents are being on the show. But Cody says he had an experience where God spoke to him, and God told him when Gwendlyn came out that Christine's like, oh, we already knew and blah, 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 whatever. And she was like, you know, yeah, we're fine with it or whatever, and she loves Bia and all this kind of stuff. Cody is kind of interesting, like, his take in it. Cody's kind of like, and you can tell Robyn's kind of, like, she's, like, kind of real homophobic. You can kind of tell that by her. She's kind of like, what? She doesn't really want to say anything because she knows whatever she's going to say is going to be fucked up. That's the scene of them talking about Gwendlyn's coming out. The first time they've ever addressed it on the show was this week. And so Cody says that he had an experience where God talked to him, God that he doesn't even believe in, to get a release from the church. I mean, this is where it's bullshit. This is where he wants to pick and choose what religion means something to him. I mean, I get so tired of this bullshit, okay? You know, stand by your man, and if that man is God, then you better live by it, all right? Don't be picking and choosing and cherry-picking your religion. And he says, God spoke to him at the time that Gwendlyn came out to him, and he said, it's mine to judge and yours to love. And I thought, what? Like, I didn't even like how that was said on there. I don't know. There was something about that as a 52-year-old gay man that has fought for my rights since the day I was 18. I did not like how that was said at all. I just didn't like it at all. That was such a weird way to address it. Then now Kody and Robyn are coming to the engagement party. Woo! Can't wait for that. And this is what I think happened is I think production said, y'all have to come to the party, okay? I think that Gwendlyn and Bia probably invited them, but I think production, they weren't going to go, because originally they weren't going to go. And I think production said, you have to go, because we need shit for the show, because the show's dying. So we need something for the show. So they go to the party, and it's the first time that they've all been together. Meri's going to be there. Janelle's not there because she's with Maddie, but they're all going to be there since Christine left. is what Christine says. Meri shows up and she's with Kody and Robyn, which I think is so weird. And she shows up, I mean, probably because they all drove from Flagstaff. Wouldn't you love to be in that car on that ride? Oh my God, I would love to hear that so much. And then Meri shows up with Kody and Robyn, but she walks ahead of them because she says she's not his wife anymore, so she's not going to walk behind him. Is that what was expected of you guys back in the day when you acted like you guys were all equal? Was that the wives walked behind him? Okay. See, little stuff is coming out. I know people are going to be like, that's what she said. She goes, I'm not his wife anymore. I'm going to walk in front of him. Cody says they're familiar strangers. And I'm like, I'd love to see that car ride on the way here from Flagstaff. Then it's about people are getting tattoos. And Robyn's like, I'm not getting a tattoo. Cody later refers to her as his pretty sweet wife. He keeps on saying sweet. His pretty something wife. And I'm like, okay, first of all, it's so interesting to me that they've always referred to Robyn as the trophy wife. The woman has now, at this point, like the makeup that she wears. I love that Meri talks about getting her eyebrows microbladed because I've always wondered that. But she's like, the only tattoo I've had is my eyebrows. I was kind of lived for that moment. But Robyn's makeup is starting to look a little bit like, you know, I did grow up going to church, and I can remember, like, that one, like, older lady that dyed her hair black until she was, like, 95, and she always wore all the makeup that kind of made her look, you know, like, it looked like she's looking a little, I don't know, girl. Put some blush on, bring some blood or life out into them cheeks or something like that. They're shaking those babies, holding those babies. I thought you're going to give those babies shaking baby syndrome or something the way you're holding those babies. My God, it was so weird. So Robyn's like, I'm not getting a tattoo. And then Cody said he's never imagined that he would be at a tattoo party in his life. And that he has, then they say that he has tattoo phobia or something. And it physically repulsed him. Tattoos physically repulsed Cody. Apparently 3 of his wives physically repulsed him too. But anyway, then Meri meets David. And that's actually this is probably, okay, so anyway. And that she says her and Christine talking is them being on their best behavior, which I thought was interesting. And she says it's just weird because she's only ever seen her with Cody. I think Meri's pretty honest, and Christine and Meri are pretty honest about their feelings. The rest of them kind of like dance around it. Then Christine and David are getting new beginnings in Celtic matching tattoos right here on their chest, and then they show them at the very end. Then Christine and Meri hug. Now I have to tell you, this is probably in 19 seasons of watching the show, probably one of the sweetest moments. I mean, I was literally tearing up. No, seriously, I was tearing up watching this. Christine and Meri hug, and they say, I love you to each other. And you can tell that they're both about to start crying, but they're holding it back. And they say that they love so much of it. Like, so much of, I don't know why. Like, I was so fucking invested in this family. And then Christine says, it's infinitely better on the other side. And Meri's like, I'm not there yet. And she's like, I don't know. Like, and Christine goes, Meri, I promise you, it's infinitely better on the other side. And I'm sitting there watching it, like you can see I'm getting teared up right now because as much as I joke about these people, I've been invested in them for 18 years. The kids, the wives, the lives, all of it. You know? And I loved the first couple of seasons. I loved the first seasons of them as a family. I really did, you know? And Meri says that she's really still not there yet. This place where it's better on the other side. And I'm like, this is probably the saddest scene in 19 seasons of watching this show, okay? This was what I wanted all along. I wanted them to come together and talk about the disintegration of the family that we as an audience have invested in for 19 years, or 19 seasons. And Christine and Meri sitting there hugging and talking about, like, and saying, like, they don't say I love you to each other, and hugging and saying, like, there was a lot of it that I really loved, you know? I mean, I can sit here, I didn't think I was going to cry in this stupid video, but there's a lot that I can laugh at about the show, like Cody's hair, or the way that Robyn acts, or them doing this, or them doing that. But there's a lot about the show that I really loved, too, or I wouldn't have invested 18 seasons of watching this show. And that was the moment that I kind of really wanted. I wanted the moment between Janelle and Meri at the house. I wanted Meri to say, you know, like, I didn't want this to happen for the family, and Janelle say, me too. You know, I didn't want that to happen either. And I wanted this moment. These are the moments that I've wanted this season. So I'm glad that we got a couple of those moments, because I think as an audience, we deserve it after investing all this time and energy, and I'm thankful for that. This is going to stop in a minute. Hold on. I literally cannot believe that I am crying in this Destroy's video. Okay. We're going to move on now. But I do. I mean, I'm so invested in the show. I mean, I wouldn't, those of you that watch it, no, you wouldn't have invested all this time if there wasn't something lovable about this family, you know? It's like seeing Gabriel, you know, with this new haircut, being at the family and talking to David and talking to all these people and, you know, all the kids being there. It's like, it's so sweet to see, like, all the kids interacting with each other and to see Christine introduce David to Gabriel as one of her sons. Like, you know, not like Janelle's son, but this is one of my kids, she says, you know, and it's like, I don't know, that's what I bought into for so long, you know? And then Cody says to Gwendlyn, it'd be pretty cheesy, because he's like, are you and Bia going to get tattoos? And Gwendlyn just got one. And he's like, are you going to get matching tattoos? And he's like, it would be pretty cheesy if you got matching tattoos after Christine just said that her and David are getting matching tattoos. And then he says he's there, and he's there with his shy, pretty wife. His one pretty wife. And she's shy. She's not shy around him, but she's shy. I'm like, what are all these words that you're using to describe Robyn Brown? Okay, and then they have a very special bond. It was such a weird, like, piece to throw into the middle of the show that he's like, my shy pretty wife. Like, he, like, so demure, you know, like, that whole thing. It's like, he wants to paint this picture of Robyn that she's just, like, so loyal, so sweet. She obeys. She's shy. She's demure. I mean, like, she should come out with merch for that shit. I obey and I'm loyal. I'm sweet and I'm shy. She should come out with merch for that shit. And then Cody and Robyn meet Cody and Robyn meet David, and they're talking to Christine, and they're like, it's so awkward, and they're holding the twins, and they're shaking the hell out of them. This scene, if you go back and watch this scene, literally, like, they're like this. I mean, Robyn cannot, like, hold on to this kid. And I'm like, girl, I'm afraid one of those kids is going to fly off into the wall here any second, right? And Cody's like, yeah, like, David couldn't even look at me. David was, like, looking at Robyn the whole time and asking her questions. And as they flash back to the scene, and I'm literally watching it, and David is, like, laser focused on Cody the whole time. But then, like, after it softens up, it's like, no, what it is that David just knows how to have a conversation with people, and he's not uncomfortable. Because there's nothing for David to be uncomfortable about. But Kody Brown, there's something for you to be uncomfortable. But you got your shy, pretty wife, so you shouldn't feel uncomfortable at all. And that's what Christine says. Then Cody said that he heard that David held his grandkids, and McKelty goes, he didn't just hold them, he babysat them. And you can see, David even says that Cody's face is getting redder and redder and redder. But then, you know, like, McKelty says, somebody says something, I can't remember who it is, about how David will be a big part of raising Truly. So, I think it's McKelty says this, and that David will be a big part of raising Truly. And so, Cody and David have got to get along, and maybe it was Aspen that said that, I don't know, and get to know each other. And then Robyn says it's really hard for her to see Christine's boyfriend because she's only ever known him with Cody. Christine puts her, and then they show her Christine puts her head on David's shoulder, which I live for. You can tell, and then Cody just starts shaking that kid like crazy. There's a lot of problems that could arise. It's a new way of coexisting, is what Christine says, okay? And that she says David is not going away. It's not a test for him. And this, like, at first I didn't really understand it. And then I was like, oh, it's a test for Cody. Because Cody is not being a good father. Cody was not a good wife. It's not a test for David. David doesn't need to be tested. Cody's the one that needs to show up, right? And she's like, he's still going to be there, and we're still buying a house together, and he'll propose, and I won't invite Cody and Robyn. And she's like, and we'll play Candyland at night and drink coffee together, and then we'll wake up in the morning, and we'll plant flowers together, and Cody and Robyn still won't be there. But I'll call Janelle sometimes on Tuesdays, and we'll talk about, did you watch Jeopardy last night? And I don't know what Meri's doing, if she's still running the bed and breakfast, and I'm like, Christine, shut up! Shut up with the word vomit, Christine, I can't. Anyway, let me know if you watch this week's episode in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.